remember when I was in class 4 for the current CBC system, they know it, or CBE system, they know it as grade 4. That's when I tried to write my first letter.
People fall apart because relationships take work. There is actual work, there's sacrifice, selflessness, there's the need to, I think, because we are all Christians, there's the benefit of we are all getting sanctified. So because we have our relationship with God, it is easier, let me say, it is easier to be with someone because you understand what it is to serve someone else, let me say that.
Love is not also arousal, especially arousal in the sense of in a courtship, the act of love and how do we show affections and love toward the other person. And is it coming from this question of how too far is too far? There are some ways you may express your affection to someone that in itself it's just you're trying to arouse something.
Hello everyone, welcome so much to the first episode of Faithful 2, where we are going to discuss about what love is and what love is not.
All right, and you heard the name right. This is Faithful 2, and we have an amazing people with us this evening, young people for that matter, and so we expect you to listen to us as young people. And here with us are amazing people, a sister and a brother, yes, who have been friends, and we are going to discuss on the topic as said, what love is and what love is not. And so we welcome you even as you join us all together through the discussion and through the conversation. Feel free, feel engaged and welcome, even as we do the same. And on to the next part is for our guests to introduce themselves. And we're going to start with my brother on my right.
Thank you. This is Isaiah Wanyama. I'm a practicing geomatics engineer, born again Christian, and I love the Lord Jesus Christ, passionate about children ministry, and I thank God for everything. I'm also in a courtship, being my third year, and I really celebrate the faithfulness of God and the growth that is part of my day-to-day activities or part of my day-to-day lifestyle. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Yes, and I'm Evelyn, born again Christian, happy to be here in a relationship, and I don't know if that qualified me, but I am happy to have the chance to talk about this. Yeah.
Amazing. Interesting. And my name is Anthony Psalmist. Find me as Anthony Psalmist. Yes, I'm born again and singularly single. Yes, and we bless the name of the Lord. Nothing complicated. It's just simply single.
And I am your co-host, Rehema Mutanu. Alone. But yeah, I am single. And taking us down into the conversation, we would want first to start by discussing, because we have said the topic is what love is and what love is not. By discussing first, when you hear the word love, what comes to your mind? You know, it will be as open. When is willing to start first?
When it comes to love, especially at this stage in my life when I'm in a relationship, one of the verses that comes into my mind, or a chapter that comes into my mind, is 1 Corinthians chapter 13. That's one of the first things that hits me, and majorly it's because of the experience I've had in the past, in my courtship life, or I can call it in my relationship life, when you come to reflect on whether you are truly exemplifying the values of love as written in the scripture. So that's one of the main things that comes into my mind at this specific time in my courtship. Thank you.
When I think of love, I think my first thought is the emotion and then the action, and the actions we do out of love, and also the relationships associated with it, be it friends, family, romantic relationships. And that is my thought when I think of first love, how there is the feeling and then there is the action in how we express it, even in our relationship with God. Yes.
Amazing. And that leads me to ask a question just quite related to the same. there is what you think about love at the first time when you've already thought about love. You see, you've already learned about love. Now there is that thing you thought about, or maybe you thought love was, like the first time you had love, let's say, it might have been influenced by other things, but what you thought love was that time before you maybe even heard a lot about love. And yeah.
I don't think it was very complicated. It was mainly associated with feeling, mainly through what we watched, what I watched.
Yeah.
That was what I related love to.
Yeah.
Yes, mainly the feeling. But now, when you grow up in the faith, you understand deeper what love is. Yes.
Amazing.
I also share the same sentiments when it comes to love. And I think I can trace it back to my childhood when I first heard the word. And I can take that to probably in my primary life. And it's just within the same context of marriage and relationship. Basically, that was the context of love that I had during that time. Yeah, I didn't have much understanding of what it was, but over time I've come to understand love better and its categories, as one of the author who is called C.S. Lewis has tried to capture the categories of love. Yes, and yeah, partly that affect the feeling part, which he terms it as eros, and there's that one which agape, which basically describes the relationship that God has to his people and how he had love for his own people by sending his son Jesus Christ, being just part of the agape love, God loving us unconditionally, not because of anything we have done, but because of his attribute of God being love. Yeah, thank you.
That's amazing. So that is to come to mean to someone who is hearing us, there is what we feel love is. Like when somebody mentions love, there is what we perceive of it for the first time out of our experiences. As we experience other things, it shapes what we think love is when somebody mentions it. Yeah. And I believe that is something that we overlook. Yes, and maybe Remy can also tell us what she thinks love is.
I think love to me, it's, you know, for this specific podcast, you're not talking about faith, love in relationships.
Yeah.
And I think it's now that much more, not just more, far beyond emotions, much more beyond feelings, but deep into, I think, commitment and a choice that you make, you know, to choose this person and also to live with them. You know, you care for them, you are willing to forgive, to walk with them day in, day out. It's quite interesting and quite lovely at the same time, of how, yes, the author of it is God who has authored the love, but also he has it's like a commission to us also to love, not just in the specific of relationships, but also in life, in the world. Yeah.
Amazing. Yes.
What do you think, our host?
Well, when I hear of the word love, the first thing that comes to mind is affection. And it's an affection that, well, has a complication. It's something I can't explain in words. I don't know if you guys get. Like, when I say I love someone, there is something I feel towards them.
Yeah.
Whether it's love that I have for a child or for my parent or for the one now that I'm in a relationship with, there is something I feel towards them that is contrary to just the normal feelings. I don't know how I can explain love, but when it's mentioned, I know feelings have to come to play. Feelings have to come to play, affection, some sort of favoritism. There's a way in which there's a way in which someone you have love for, something you love. You see, for example, I love my handkerchief. When I say I love my handkerchief, there is some attachment I have, so it comes also with attachment. So it's such a complicated thing that just one word cannot explain, but that's the beauty of it.
Okay.
When now that I've had to experience love in different ways, I come to the conclusion that when someone mentions love, the first thing that comes to mind is that it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, that is what I've come to conclude.
It sure is. And before we get even out of the Nini, I would want to ask, who introduced you to love? Now, in the romantic love, not the love of God. We know, of course, we already know about the love of God. But who introduced, where do you think you learned about this other kind of love from? Cost?
Oh my goodness. It's me again. Well, who introduced me to love? Not my parents, unfortunately.
Yes.
Not my parents, unfortunately.
Maybe you attended a wedding.
Not really. I was introduced to love by friends in camp, not in campus, in high school. In high school. I think in primary, there's just, you could just be attracted to somebody, but you couldn't put a name to it because they are just, but then now when it comes to love, like now in high school, I think now I was like, something is different here. Yes, I was introduced to that kind of love by friends. Yes.
I think the same school, but primary school, where you see people having, let's say, affections to this one likes this one, but this one doesn't like this one because they like someone else. That's triangle. And that was, but I think I mainly saw it from the media, movies, cartoons, especially cartoons, where there is a happy ever after. I think my first encounter was through cartoons, and then I saw it real life through other people's experience, and then yes, that was my
got you.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yes, thank you. On my end, same to her point, like in my primary, I remember when I was in class 4 for the current CBC system, they know it, or CBE system, they know it as grade 4. That's when I tried to write my first letter. It's so funny that at that point I was in a position, I'm not sure how my grammar by then sounded, but I tried to draft something expressing how I was feeling, and the feeling was like I was attracted to someone. Yes, and that one was all introduced by my peers, living with people who are already in this relationship, and you are seeing things happening. So let me also try. So I'll say peer. It was introduced by my peers, probably my age mate by that time, between age 11 to 13, around there, when I was a little bit younger, 3 years. And I tried to copy them because they were doing it. They had girlfriends, so I was okay. Let me also give a try. So I was introduced by friends. Yes.
For me, I think we used to accompany my dad so much to weddings. I think that's where we saw love. I don't think I saw it from my parents really, in as much as yes, they were in love, but I think we used to see them as their parents, but not love. So I came to see of it now when people are getting married, they are doing the wedding. So you see, so this is love, where people are now, they are getting into marriage, they are crossing over, they have chosen each other. I think that's where the concept really came from of love. Yeah. And now when you're talking about love, there are some of the things that people actually usually mistake with love. Let's take an example of maybe something like infatuation. Like people think that is love. So there are so many kind of things, but we want now to discuss about them. The things that people most usually mistake with love, but they actually not love. What do you think some of those things are?
I can start.
Yeah.
It's so sad that we are trying to redefine things, and this generation, and probably the issue of malpractices and malunderstanding, if I may use that word, just for the sake of our audience and for our understanding. People are trying to redefine love, and just as you have shared, I remember about learning about counterfeit oneness and how we try to define love, and it's so sad that it's part of what is happening around us. And one of the things I have seen, it's when people equate love to an act of engaging in sex and majorly the fornication in itself, and trying to enjoy its all fruits and its mothers and grandmothers within the confine of unmatured and unprepared relationship that has to happen at the right time. So I can say that's one misunderstanding of love, equating love to sex. And also another thing that I have observed is manipulation, how people try to use manipulation in the whole, when it comes to love, you use it as a commodity. I'm giving you so that I get this. I give you this certain way of expression so that I get this and this from you. So you get, you have affection, which has been corrupted in a way, but it's not love in itself. It's just manipulation and people trying to use what has been meant to be used in the context of marriage as a way of defining love. So that's some of the key observation I can point about this generation, and also just going through some literatures. Yes.
I think an instance I've seen of where people mistake love is when, I think it's called love bombing, emotional intensity, where someone pours their love. It seems like love. They do things for you. They are there. They always hear your worries and all that. But I think also to tie in with the manipulation, most times they have an agenda where they are doing this for something or for their own sakes, for selfish interests. So I think that it's called, I think, love bombing, where they just love. You think they love you, but deep down they are. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I think something that I've noticed that people really mistake for love is gifts. Gifting. Yeah, like
It's a love language.
it's thank you. The main point is language. It's a love language, and somebody can still express the language without loving you. You get that right?
How so?
Somebody can still express that language without them loving you. Like they can be gifting you
Out of
but
abundance.
then out of abundance, and then you on your actually most of the time the people I tend to believe the people mistake it for those who are on the other side of the receiving end. They tend to mistake, like they mistake. Now that I'm being gifted, it means love is growing. And something, as I say, that is very profound about fornication and about engaging in, I think this is big because we're talking as young people, by the way, in this place. This is big, talking in terms of our interactions, that is in terms of what we engage in. You doing something evil together, or you engaging in something that is involving a group, that means you love me. It's something that really messes up, but then it's still called love. And I don't really think that is right, because it's something that has been mistaken. As Isaiah said, it's more of a perversion. Another thing that is also mistaken for love is some premature intimacy. In terms of, well, we are going to get married and you love me. Now you got to prove it. Now you have to prove it, and then somebody will come up with things for you to prove that are quite hurtful, number one, or might harm either of you, or might lead you people into a mess. And that can involve drugs. It can involve messy companies and engagements that are not really right. And I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart, because this is something that is affecting us as youths. And as we are talking about this, I've seen lots of things that have been mistaken for love, and they have proved not to be love. And how have they proved not to be love? Because they have failed. But we know love doesn't fail. Yeah.
Also, lust is not love.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you may fall for someone because you have so much appreciated how their body physique.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that is not lasting. I mean, you'll just appreciate it for now, but if they love your body doesn't really mean they actually love you. They just love their body. But when it comes to loving you, they really doesn't. There also the aspect of attachment. You may so feel so much attached to someone, maybe because of their personality or anything, but that really doesn't guarantee love at any point. I think there are so many things that they are not love. When we start to talk about them, we'll list and list and list and list. And I think it's for us now to be much careful.
Yeah.
When someone says, I love you, what does they really mean? What does they look into? What have they seen to love? Yeah.
Amazing.
I also have something to add. There's, do we call them consonants, or do you have to lasting? So last is not lasting. The last of the sexual attraction is not lasting. She has pointed that, and I was okay. I think I should say that. And there's something you also shared about affection and arousal. So I'll say love is not also arousal, especially arousal in the sense of in a courtship, the act of love and how do we show affections and love toward the other person. And is it coming from this question of how too far is too far? There are some ways you may express your affection to someone that in itself, it's just you're trying to arouse something. So today I was just, as I was going through my notes, and I was, okay, there's a difference between affection and arousal. And in the context of love, I'll say love is not arousal. If I express any act of love in a way that is arousing the other person, it's not in itself love, but it's just, I'll say the other words that I was using is you are not contaminating, you are, it's just a misunderstanding of what love is. So love has to be a way of showing affection, but within limits. If it goes to a way that you are trying to arouse the other person, majorly in the context of like you're not yet married, like either at a friendship level or at a courtship level, then it becomes a misdefinition of what love is. So I pointed that, and I just wanted to comment on that.
And that's true. And that's true. And a very interesting question here. You know, this thing of love. Oh my. Especially amongst us young people. Now, there's a very interesting question here. People fall in love. Is that well? This is a yes or no question. It's just a yes or no question. Did you fall in love?
No. Yes.
Did you fall in love?
You're making me think. But my immediate answer would be yes.
Yes. Thank you. Now if you can see, their responses are very different. But then, all of them are in a relationship. Isaiah didn't fall in love. Eve fell in love. But that is not even the main point. Well, we'll get there. The big question here is, people fall in love, but they still fall apart. You get it?
Yeah.
So, especially for us young people. Now, all of us who are here are young people. What do we really think? What do we really think is the reason? Why do people fall in love, but then
Fall apart.
they still fall apart? Because actually I was checking some statistics. Around 98% of college students, that is around USA, they break up. 98% of college students, of course those who break up are those who have in a relationship, they break up. That's big.
Yeah.
That's big. To mean in 10, almost all of them are going to break up, because that is 9.8 are going to break up. So why? What do we think really is the problem? Is the problem with falling? But if you fall, you should rise out. But they fall in love and then they still
Fall apart.
fall apart.
Let me start so that I can explain myself.
Because you're not falling apart.
I'm not
Yeah.
falling apart.
Amen. Amen.
Falling in love, I think I'd start with, let's say, my definition of it would be fall in love, the emotional part. Let me say, where you find yourself, you slowly grow in your affection towards someone, and then it grows into something you want to pursue.
Yeah.
And that is what I would describe as falling in love, to the extent you want to be with this person. And then why people fall in love and then fall apart later, I think would be, see, as I said, it is the emotional part. So people fall apart because relationships take work. There is actual work, there's sacrifice, selflessness, there's the need to, I think, because we are all Christians, there's the benefit of we are all getting sanctified. So because we have our relationship with God, it is easier, let me say, it is easier to be with someone because you understand what it is to serve someone else, let me say that. So when people fall apart, sometimes feelings are not there, let me say that. And it's not that they're, how do I say it? The intensity of the feelings is not there. It's not that you don't like the person or you don't love the person, but love becomes more than just the feelings, especially when things become mundane, where life is the same, life is routine, or maybe there are conflicts here and there. So love becomes more than the feeling. So people fall apart when they find it hard to navigate through that, where real life, yeah, what do we do? And also when I think people can have feelings for anyone. So when people sometimes can fall apart if you don't have shared values from the beginning, you didn't take time to understand what this person is like, what they believe in, what are their values. So later when things become reality hits, you're not on the same page. And then yes, that is. And also I think something I've seen is when people struggle with transitions. Let me use an example. All of us are out of school.
Yeah, sure.
So when you're in school, there's the way things are, and then there's the stress and the pressures of out of school. So if we are each struggling in our own ways and we don't know how to navigate how that transition has happened, it's very easy to fall out of love. I think I've seen that in the married context, where it's a hard season, where let's say when you're pregnant and then the baby comes, that is a hard season to both of you because you're trying to navigate this. So if you don't navigate transitions well, it is easy to fall apart.
That's profound.
Thanks. Yeah, that was truly an impressive just description of the whole understanding. I appreciate the fact that you try to define the terms. We are linguists, and in one way, there's a way I understand something and appreciate something that if the other person, if I tell them, they may have a different, from their own definition, they may totally have a different representation of what it is. So for me, when it comes to falling apart, falling in love and falling apart, I'll say I totally agree with her definition, and I say I also fall in love. Yeah, from her definition.
From my definition.
Yeah, I subscribe to that one. And just to add that it's more of a choice. You are choosing someone, and in that choice, it's a commitment to be with someone. I'll go back also to Moses and when he was with Israelites, and Christ alludes to one of what was happening, people being given a letter of divorce, and majorly it was because of their hearts being hardened. So it's so sad that we are living in a sinful generation, and we are also being sanctified, just as she was putting it. And there's a way of our character and our values may come to, they are not aligning in one way or the other, and that has a way of just causing people to fall apart. So yeah, people can fall in love, and it's so sad that they can fall apart. Once I was going through the book of The Four Loves by C.S. Lewis, and I just remember this example that he was using to describe divorce. He was like, a part of you being cut, the same pain of, like, if you're going through a divorce, it's like, try to imagine that whole pain you can feel when a part of your body is being cut, because initially you became one and now you are being separated, but in the context of like, try to imagine that pain that someone can feel. And it's not just about the physical pain, think about also the emotional pain. And I believe the emotional pain is one of, it's so intense. I'll not say that I've experienced it, but I know from how people have expressed it, and you will probably not want to fall into that category. And yeah, so I'll say the falling apart, it's happening. And even statistically in Kenya, it's so sad that from the former president, that's the the fourth president of Kenya, he was just commenting about the status of our country. And I think over 33% of the families were being led by single parents. And these were people initially who had husbands and wife at some point. And he was mentioning from the context of mothers taking care of their children. And it's so sad that this is happening. And it has also been stated over time that the issues of finances are really one of the greatest cause of divorce and separation. But in the Christian context, I believe the journey of sanctification has a way of just bringing the two of you together. By fact, if you have chosen to be with someone, you are choosing and committing to marry them, you are committing to Christ, like he's the one who is your leader. And there's this triangle that I usually love. The husband is on this side, the wife is on this side, and they're all coming towards God. And that oneness has a way of just keeping you together. So the falling apart is not likely to happen when you're all journeying towards God. You are having common character, you're having common values, and you are all moving in your journey of sanctification towards Christ and him just shaping who you are becoming. I think that is the only lasting solution for the falling apart, that us going back to God, because he's the one who brought the whole concept of love by Adam and Eve. It wasn't man's idea, it was God's original idea, and between a man and a woman. And there's a way, one of the authors says that it's a parable of permanence. That's, am I forgetting his name? But he describes it as a parable of permanence. It's meant to be permanent, a decision that has to be made by two mature male and female who are agreeing to the covenant. It's a covenant, it's not a contract. It's not a contract, yeah, it's a covenant. And I think that oneness, an understanding of that oneness has a way of just keeping that, the falling apart away. And now we are falling towards love, or falling in love and falling towards God and becoming one, not only physically, spiritually, emotionally, and that's basically the oneness. That's what I can add to that.
Okay.
There is also unmet expectations. Sometimes you're falling in love with expectations of how things will be and how you will be treated, maybe. And sometimes that doesn't happen. It also leads to people falling apart. Also communication. I think it has been also more so in relationships. One of the things that are breaking relationships, because you expect things to be said to you, and sometimes it's not being communicated to you, and then you end up overthinking, and there is also the aspect of readiness. Sometimes someone gets into a relationship when they are not even ready for the relationship. They have not thought through, they have not yet worked on themselves, on their weaknesses, and to understand more of themselves. But now someone comes, but even without a second guess, this is someone who knows the Lord, this is a believer and everything. But that doesn't guarantee, even as much as they are a believer can also still, you can be a believer, a very good man of God, but if you have not yet worked on yourself, it will still fall apart. So I think there are these kind of things.
Okay. All right. And I think something profound that still goes on here is for us to realize God's original design for how these relationships and courtships should be, and to avoid the falling apart, because God's intention is not for you guys to come together and then come and fall apart. And so falling apart is not God's idea. And something also profound said here that I think we really need to think about is, let's define things.
Yeah.
Know what it means to fall in love. Because my brother here, at the first time, he didn't fall in love. But then when it was defined, then he realized, oh, nice, then I think I fell in love. So I think we also really need to check into that. All right, as you can see, our background just changed because of the weather issues. Yes, and we are here to continue our discussion. All right, on to our next question. We just finished talking about all about what love is and some of the things we mistake it for and all that. Now, the next question that we're asking here that I believe is very important. We are in an age of social media and everywhere. We have mainstream social media handles and pages that we use. There is a big way these media platforms affect our perspective about love, and they shape what we believe love is and what it's not. And chances are very high that you will be watching this session and it will be shaping the way you think love is or should be. So what do we think like is the impact of social media on what love is and what love is not? I mean, in defining it. Yes, how does social media play a role in all this, especially amongst us as young people? Yes.
I can start commenting on the place of social media. I believe we are in one of the generation that we are so much exposed to the internet, and there's free access of quite a number of things. But in reality, you come to think of like what is being portrayed and the reality, and it's so sad that people tend to present the perfect image of what a relationship is and what it is not, but it's not really what is happening. So when it comes to the influence, how social media is impacting us and how it's changing our view, I'll say it's really happening. And every time I think someone has to think of like, is this truly right? Is it the best way? Or they're just trying to get views and to get ideas, but it's not what it is in reality. So I concur with the idea that social media is really impacting us in our view of relationship and marriage and quite a number of things. But I believe it should not be the way that defines how we ought to view relationship. We always have to I believe we have to take a step back and just reflect, is it truly right that I should maybe follow these and these and these practices? I think we need to have a basis of that really guides us on how we approach relationship and matters love and marriage. It should not be based on like what is generally accepted by everyone in the internet. So I think that's what I can comment on that. Yeah.
I think social media, as he has said, has allowed us to see people's lives, has allowed us to hear people's thoughts on things like relationships.
Yeah.
So on the negative side, I think it has made us have unrealistic expectations, because even personally, when I post, I won't post when I'm crying. I'll post the happy, good times when I'm with friends, like the happy times. So there's a view of life that is not visible to us when we scroll through social media.
Yeah.
So we have unrealistic expectations towards maybe a partner. You want them to do this. Every birthday, you want something big, something loud,
Yeah.
and it becomes a problem and an issue, because even on the real end, it's not, maybe it's not your reality. Someone else's reality is not the same. And also there's the side where not everyone who is posting something is posting what actually is going on. It may be a facade, to say.
Sure.
But all I can social media also, on the good side, the positive end, because we get to see maybe people sharing healthy things. These people bring up topics, let's say, like money, conversations to have, what to expect. We are more prepared on certain things. Like when you face something in your own relationship, it's not foreign because you've had someone also experience this through social media. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. We can't remove it because it is there to stay, but it's how you take in what is shared.
Okay.
But I think also there is the aspect of comparison, because you have seen it in social media, people doing this, you and surprise their partner with this, and now you want a replica of the same. You want this and this. I think we need to just be cautious of what we perceive from the social media. There are the good things, of course, to learn from. There are some that bring lessons, very good lessons to us, and we ought to learn from them. But also there is the ones that bring like a little bit of a pressure, you want to now to get into such kind of a lifestyle because you have seen this influencer living a life like this, be loving their wife in this manner, and you want now to be loved in this way. I think we need also to be cautious of what we take from social media, and not really rush into decisions, into things that concern social media, because sometimes they are very scripted. They have sat down and scripted, bwana nitakuletea gari ushtuke hivi and you cry or something like that, like a little bit scripted, and you are now the same. For them they are maybe sometimes after likes and views, unlike for you, you're not running against likes and views. You are building a family, a relationship. So I think we just need to be slow when it comes to social media. And wise at the same time.
Interesting. Well, that is an information that has come from my fellow young people, and sometimes when we bring people here who are not so much into social media, you'll say, those people you brought for us, they don't know what's going on. Well, the people that we have here are people who have social media handles, and well, let me not ban in quotes. People here, they are common in social media, and so they watch and they post, and they are young people, and so something that comes out is we have an option, each and every one of us, to choose what we take in and what we don't. And now what we take in and what we don't, sometimes our choices also get blurred, and again, what influences what you choose and what you don't. I believe, as they have said, social media have things that are very, very important for us, and we all agree there is so much. And for you to actually know Faithful 2 and know what we're doing, you'll have to go to social media, apart from maybe the conferences or anything that can be done that is not in media. Even that will be media. And so we agree that media is carrying all this information. But then please be careful that what you're learning there is true love, so that you don't have some expectations that are going to mess you up as an individual or mess the other person. Yes.
And as maybe someone may be asking also about the question of not just now in a relationship, what about for someone who is getting into a relationship? There is always that aspect of self-love, or rather being able to first love yourself the way you are before now bringing someone else into your space and to accommodate them, that now you may be able to get into a relationship. And there are things that you need to also work on about yourself, work on in your character, in your weaknesses, and come to know more about yourself. I think, and I would want us now to get into that and discuss about what are as you're working on maybe self-love, what are some of the key things that you need to look into before you not find love or fall in love, but before you get into a relationship.
I believe the silence maybe can first begin, then she can add. I believe someone appreciating who they are, and the fact that they should appreciate that they are complete. This other person who is coming into their life are not in any way completing something that is lacking in them. It will come from someone who is first content in who they are, in who God has made them, in like their personality, in terms of they are the way they are because God designed them to be in that way, and they are not like with that mindset that this person is coming to complete them. I think that's what I can say from my personal experience. First, appreciate who you are and love that you are you, and the other person is not coming to complete you, but you are completing yourself. And also, this comes with a concept of like, are there things in your own life that need to be worked on? You don't want another person to come into your life, then they will be like they are babysitting you. It's just a borrowed word I heard someone mentioning, that another person is coming to babysit you, to work on your weaknesses. And it's a good thing that you identify your weaknesses. Maybe I know I'm very talkative. I can be very talkative. So I know this one as a person, like now that's me, Isaiah, can affect me in a relationship. So I have to regulate myself. Maybe I overuse money. A spendthrift. Yes, money comes, money goes. Money comes, money goes. So those are some of the things that I'll say I have to really work on it. So you have to work on your weaknesses, and there are insecurities that you also need to work on them. There's this attachment called anxious attachment. You may want to have, like, when you identify yourself like to be an anxious attachment, it's like you want people to be checking up on you at all time, and you just want company at all times. And now you get in a relationship and you find someone who is very reflective and they want to just spend some of their own time and do some other things. So you also need just to appreciate that I need first to be, yes, I should not be worried so much about the other person. So if you notice like you have such traits, I think it's wise for someone like just to hold for a while and spiritually prepared, especially for men. I'll say if you're a man and you're struggling in your devotion, I will not commend you for a relationship. I actually borrow this term from Paul Washer, that he mentioned as one of the qualities of a person who is committing to courtship, and in the context of men, that they should have unaided devotion to God. The unaided part becomes of like, I'm not depending on the other person for me to be spiritually aligned and for me to be sanctified. Like you as an individual, like you are, like Christ is shaping you. So those are the 4 things that I can mention for now. And yeah, maybe you
Just
can
to,
add. Yeah.
Menena.
Yeah.
But to add and to agree,
Yes.
a healthy form of self-love, because there's the unhealthy version. A healthy one is where you are fully aware of yourself. You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, and with that view in mind, if this person is looking forward to a relationship and desires one and wants to be in one, this person won't, they know this person won't complete them. I'm not looking for someone who will come and soothe me because of my insecurities. I have to first deal with them, me and the Lord. And I think, as he has said, it's very important to first have that relationship with God, because you can't, okay, I believe you can't deal well with people if you don't know God well. Like to deal with people well, you have to know the Creator well. So that I can also be self-aware on the aspect of, if I have mistakes, I sorry, I can mend on them, and I am willing to accept things. Yes. So looking for someone who is not going to complete you, but rather these are 2 complete human beings coming together to honor God in whatever happens.
Sure.
My co-host, single brother.
Interesting.
What are you?
Well, interesting. But even before I talk, we have so many visitors, so yeah, they're beautifying the scene. All right. There is something that you have mentioned that is quite profound about someone being complete first. I want to believe that loving myself and being proud of myself, not that word is quite tricky to use, but well, I hope you get it. Like knowing that I, being Anthony in Christ, is complete. And also, someone who is coming into my life is coming as a help. You see, Adam is a very good example, and God is the one who's so like, this man. This it's not good for this man to be alone. I mean, Abraham was not Abraham, but Adam. He had all his time. He was doing his things. Like a nice joke that we can make with our cameraman. Like I mean, we are just good people, and we are enjoying our world. We are not. We don't care. Do we have someone beautiful at the moment that we no? We just want to be growing, developing myself, knowing myself, so that because I think the reason I'm saying this is important is it reaches a moment whereby you try to find validation in your partner, and when they don't, you start concluding. And if you're another thinker like myself, you start concluding things about them concerning you, about how they think about you, and then you realize, oh, you're the one thinking about yourself that way, just loading it on someone else, which now affects love itself, because it will mean you won't love right. You will start loving on conditions, or you will not yourself understand love when it is expressed unto you, because you will want it to be directed in some way which really it ought not to be. And so I think having that time to work on yourself and know yourself and accept yourself and love yourself is important. But something to say, because this is also very dangerous, there is something I found that is also quite profound. When I don't think there is anything good in you being you and you being genuine and authentic if your authentic self is weird. People be like, it's better to be genuine and authentic than to pretend to be someone I'm not. My friend, you're wicked. If you're wicked, just work on your wickedness. Don't say that I want to be genuine. I don't want to pretend. Yet, what you're not pretending, in as much as it's genuine, it's not promoting love. So that point of us knowing ourselves, it helps. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yes. In addition to what he's saying, I know there are these 4 temperaments that are familiar with us, from melancholic, the choleric, sanguine, and the phlegmatic. There's also the 16 types by Meyer and Briggs. And people have found a way of being common and too cold with who they are in that and not working on the other side. So I don't believe we should subscribe to that point. Like, I know I'm a choleric, so I stay with this trait. So these are my weaknesses, and I accept them the way they are, and these are my strengths. I believe we should be in that point. Yes, this is my natural inclination to do this and this, but it's not going to define me. So I'm aware that I'm naturally I'm going to be this way, but I know it's not the best way. So I'll ask, and majorly, like as believers, as Christians, we are depending on God for the Holy Spirit to guide us. So you don't say, I'm this way, and just hide in your personality, but letting Christ shape your identity and your personality. So that's something I can also add in self-awareness and also self-love. Yeah.
Interesting. I think in Noble Woman usually told that a lady in the singlehood, they need to learn more about submission to God and learn about God and knowing God the more before having someone that you need to submit to when you have not yet learned about submission to the Lordship of Christ. Anyway, far from that, the world defines love. And there is also the definition of love that we get from the scriptures. I think I would want us to explore into that, get into that. What do you think, Amma, from what you have been seeing from the world, what do you think they define love, and where do they get it wrong? Because of course, they are wrong about their definition of love. Not unless you guys agree that they are right. But yeah, and what is the true meaning of love now as you criticizing the world's view of love?
The world's perspective is very self-seeking. As long as I'm happy, as long as I am happy. So when you're with a partner, it becomes a problem because you're always looking out for you. When you say that, it's always this time why didn't you consider me? Why me? Why me? It's mainly about me. And the world has, okay, it's expected because it's the world, but it has different definitions of love, and it's relative. Let me say that.
Yeah.
But from God's truth, from the word of God, it is very defined what love is. And I think we have emphasized many times that once we understand what God says through his word, it becomes easy to navigate what love is from God's perspective. Because if you're in a relationship and you're in Christ, both of you, there is sacrifice, there is kindness, there is patience, there's extending grace to one another, because we will all make mistakes. We are two imperfect people trying to live life in this fallen world, but trying our best to please the Lord by the Holy Spirit's help. So we have to extend grace to one another. Not when you've made a mistake, it's over. It's over. Tumemalizana.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's what I'd say. And yeah.
I totally agree with what she has said. She has helped us to really understand the place of the worldly understanding of what love is defined as. Just to add a few things on this, like the biblical way of love. And I've been going through the book of John, or I went through the book of John, and specifically chapter 4, and the way it describes love, I believe it's one of the perfect understanding of what God's way of understanding love is. And it points us to God himself being love, and those who let me just allow me to read it. So it's from the book of First John chapter 4. 1 John chapter 4 from verse 7 to 21, but I'll not read the whole of it. Specifically, I'll start with verse 7, then jump to a few verses. Then it says, begins by saying, "Dear friend, let us love one another. Love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. And whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love." Then I can jump to verse 10. "This is love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his son Jesus Christ for our atoning sacrifice." And in the same manner, we are reminded that we therefore love one another. So the biblical way of love is like God is love, and he has shown us love by him sending Jesus Christ to be an atoning sacrifice for us. And in the context of marriage, it's usually say that husband, love your wives just as Christ loved the church. So I believe the biblical way of love is, first, love is a sacrifice, and love is an action. We know the famous John 3:16, that God loved the world, that he showed that he sent his only son Jesus Christ to die for our sins. And so the whole definition of love, God in himself, in his own attribute, like he is love, and the perfect way of showing love is now sending his son Jesus Christ to die for us. And in the context of marriage, the same sacrifice and the same action that Christ took to die for the church is the same that is expected of a man. Like a man is expected to show his love by the way Christ modeled love, by him dying on the cross. And just also to add the 1 Corinthians chapter 13, as much as it talks about our approach, the context, it was on the gifts of the Holy Spirit. And here we have a perfect image of what love is. And love is kind, love is patient, love does not keep a record of wrong, of which that's one of the hardest, especially for those people in a relationship or marriage. And just as she mentioned earlier, that being in a relationship, it's work in itself. And also I believe being in marriage, it's also work in itself. Keeping a record of wrong, it's one of the weaknesses that I believe some of the relationship that keeps on ending at some point. It's because you have kept so much wrongs on this side, and you end up overlooking on the good or the beautiful things that have been done by the other person. And just going through there's a book called The Love Dare. It's an inspiration behind the movie called Fireproof. Just an inspiration of people committing to forgive each other and to revive a marriage that is falling. That place of love has been really portrayed from like love being patient, kind, and the final part of it, like just pointing us that true love never ends and there's perfect unity in love. So the scriptural way of love, it points us towards Christ, towards God, and like we are supposed to model that same love to each other. And in the context of marriage, like the same way Christ has shown us that love, that's what is expected of each one of us. So I just wanted to add on what she said, yeah, on now the biblical understanding of what love is. Yeah.
Amen. On my side, I would say I think you guys have already said a lot about it. But also the word usually love looks like they love out of convenience. But Christ's love, no, aina mipaka. Like it's consistent and it's a true one. It doesn't, it stands the test of time. I think that's what I would say.
Yeah. Well, let me say mine, which is quite different a bit. While doing my CDR, even before I say this, I really want us to really know that the reason as to why we are talking about this as Christians who are young people is because it's good for us to know that we cannot experience love or give love apart from the one who really started the whole issue of relationships and marriages and all this. And that is, I'm talking about God. And so, someone who doesn't know God, doesn't have a relationship with God, cannot tell you that they can love you right. That is a truth that we really don't want to accept. This is not religion. This is a reality. If you don't have a relationship with the one who teaches people to love, then it means you cannot love. Right. Romans 13:10, and I'm going to mention this because I think this is what really trends. It trends so much in our generation right now. Love does no wrong to one's neighbor. This is amplified version. It never hurts anybody. Therefore, love meets all the requirements and is the fulfilling of the law. NIV says, love does no harm to its neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfillment of the law. NLT says, love does no wrong to anyone. So love satisfies all of God's requirements. The reason I'm saying this is because I think there's so many things that have been labeled as love, yet these things have led to people being hurt. People have died in the name of love. People have been in crimes in the name of love. People have been involved in tragic things, even in fornication, even in body shaming, and all those manner of things, and they still call it love. And so I believe that the real definition of what love is can only be found in God, not in people who call themselves Christians, but in God. You yourself find the definition of love first in God before like we find it in people. Like we just want to test like what does love look like? When you are beginning, you are like, what do you think love is at the mention of love? Yeah, and I think the world defines love in its own way, and it calls as long as there is a girl and a boy who are relating affectionately, who are allowing each other into each other's safe spaces and are intimate and everything, there is love there. But that is not true. Because if it leads to someone being hurt, being messed up, being ruined, somebody's life not taken seriously, people take advantage of one another, then I don't think that is love. And so this is something that I really want to tell us as my fellow young people. Let's take time before you offer somebody your emotions, your body, your mind. Sit down and understand whether what you are doing, first of all, is it out of love or just out of attraction, affection, or infatuation of something. Because I think that is really going to help us also to get rid of all these tragic things that happen around us because of our desperation. Yeah, and that brings us to the close of what we started as what love is and what it's not. And just before we conclude, and this is a challenge that I also throw onto you, think through, and well, I invite you also to think through the kind of love that you've been talking about and the one you are in, especially if you're in a relationship. Hey, if you're in a relationship, please sit and have some reflection. Check whether what you are calling love is love. And also, this is something you're going to share. What is it that you're committing to do? Like, this is love, and this is what I'm committing to do about love. We will start from the hammer.
Wow. You want to start from the one who is already single. What I'm committing to do. I think it's just to love God and serve His people. For now.
For now.
For now. Literally. Because I don't say I'm committing to love my partner more genuinely. I'm a intentionality. I'm a be forgiving partner.
By faith.
Boy.
People don't have faith here that they love some partners. So
But I'm committing to learn, to grow,
yeah.
and actually to continue just serving God. Yeah,
Okay.
for now. Matters concerning relationship,
To be continued.
not to be confused.
To be continued.
As the Lord
Oh, yeah, to continue to trust.
In God, I
Okay.
think, yeah.
All right.
It should be more intimate.
Well,
Look into the camera.
Someone is hearing this now.
What? Anyway,
Yes.
what I commit to, but I think I committed to,
Yeah.
and I'm continuing to commit to,
Yeah.
is to first fully love the Lord,
Yeah.
fully. It's not as easy as I'm saying, but
Yeah,
fully
true.
love the Lord, so that I'm able to love better and grow better, and accommodate someone else with a different personality than me, different things, but I commit to know God better, love God better, so that I can be able to love better.
Yeah. Okay.
And on my end, I commit to the biblical courtship, and there are 5 principles that I've been really journeying with my love. And
Because someone's
I'm
love.
sorry.
and
No pressure.
there's this book called Pathway to Christian Marriage. There are 5 principles that I've been committing, and we have been committing together. The first one is on piety, like we are growing in oneness as we move towards Christ. The triangle that I drew earlier, like I am here, she's here, then we are all going to God. So piety. Another part that I'm committing is the place of purity. And I love the definition of purity, the definition of courtship from Pathway to Christian Marriage. It defines it as the journey of knowing someone in purity as you prepare towards marriage. So that's something that I am recommitting, or I'm committing again. Then patience, to keep on waiting for the right time, when in God's own sovereign time and in His will, then we'll become one physically. I'm also committing to patricentrism. Patricentrism, it's another big word for like parents being involved. Like, yes, we are coming together. They are involved. My parents are involved. Then the last one is on patience, patricentrism. I've forgotten I think my love should now help me with the 5th one. But I'm committing basically from the foundation of being pious, like the foundation of the scriptures and the authority of the scriptures, as I move down towards the P, and committing also to be led by older people who are in a relationship. I'm committing to submission, like submitting first to the scriptures and also submitting to the godly counsel of those people who have walked ahead of us, and they are more well versed with matters relationship and marriage. That's what I can say.
Hey, interesting. Now, those who are in relationship have spoken. They have said their commitment. Well, as a single person, I'm single, but I'm not alone. At least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a family around me. I have family in church and my own family. Well, the family that I've been born in, my parents and my siblings. Oh, my own family. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. My commitment is to love them if I can love them, then I can know how I can love someone who comes then into my life. And so trusting God that He will help me to love them. These things that we are saying here, they're not very easy things to do. We can say them, but then as Eve stated, as we started, and as Isaiah stated, and as Remy stated, we all agree that relationships, for them to work, there must be work that must be done. And so as we agree on the same, our commitments you've had, please take your time to reflect upon the relationship you are in and ask yourself whether it's about love or for you, how I wish you and your spouse will be listening to this podcast, because it is faithful too. So that when you hear it, he also hears it, and then you guys can look at each other and ask yourself whether what you are doing is really right or not. Otherwise, we thank you so much also for watching till the end and for listening to this. What we've spoken is very important, and it can change your life, and it can change someone's life. On to you, Rehema.
We have come to the end of our conversation on the topic what love is and what love is not. Kindly, we would love you to like, share, comment, and also subscribe. Please do not forget to tap the subscription button. And also comment on what you have learned from the topic. As also we look forward to the next episode that we'll be having. Hopefully we'll be hosting a married couple on the next episode. Tune in for the next one. Our vision is to champion and voice out godly principles in relationships, for courtships, for marriages, families, and even in parenting. So we trust in God to see you next time. Until then, bye.
Bye bye.